on Working Week this week, well, it's all about women in business.
We'll be looking at a Nottingham venture that's trying to encourage more women in the city to set up their own companies.
Our skills, the skills that we have, are absolutely what's needed in business now.
And I'll be finding out what women in Nottingham think about setting up their own business.
I can't do it with the commitments I've got to raising my 2 children.
When you tell people that you're in business for yourself, I mean, how do they look on you?
I think they respect me. I think they're quite envious.
And we've got jobs too. We'll be looking at how manufacturers in the city are booming and creating hundreds of new jobs.
You can tend to stagnate, but we're not. Moving into lots and lots of different markets, which is fantastic stuff.
I'm Des Coleman.
I'm Rob Pittham.
And this week we'll be finding out more about women in business in Nottingham.
Yeah, because we've been along to see a new campaign that's just started to encourage more women to set up their own companies, and they call themselves, Des, the Nottingham Blue Stockings.
That's right, yes. So first of all, you just want to put your feet on the little wood hats. So again, just
We've seen plenty of women in business in Notts here on Working Week.
There's some more cups down.
From cafe owners to carriage builders.
good boy, and then slide the shaft all the way in through to the tip.
But nationally, men are still twice as likely to set up in business as women.
Pizza's ready.
And what's more, one survey found that only 6% of men said family responsibilities would hold them back. For women, it was 21%. And so a group of Nottingham women in business have decided to get together with their fellows from across the city to swap experiences and share advice.
Hi! You ready for tonight?
Yeah, ready for tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Good to see you.
I'm a bit of an addict for business courses, and I'd done maybe 3 business courses. And I opened my own business when I was 30. So it's kind of the sort of age when you start thinking, I want to have kids. And not in any of those business courses was anything about pregnancy or family, even family, you know, mentioned. And I felt really like, basically, I felt like I had to make a choice, business or family. Because the two didn't really meet, even though I knew that they did, but I didn't really know how to do that as a self-employed person.
They founded the Nottingham Blue Stockings, named after a women's educational self-help group from the 1700s, but very much aimed at the modern-day self-employed woman.
It's lovely being self-employed, but also you really miss that kind of team dynamic that you have when you work in an office. So if you have like an idea or a concept or kind of a strategy to develop, it's just you on your own. And sometimes you might be thinking, is that any good? I don't know. So for me, it was about having that kind of network of a group of resources that you could call on, so different women with different skill sets, and also a space where you could talk openly about the issues of being self-employed. And also for me, things have changed quite dramatically from the 80s, where if you were entrepreneurial in the 80s, it was about having big shoulder pads and kind of being a masculine. So women had to kind of downplay their femininity to be in boardrooms and to be successful, where now I think those attributes of being feminine are seen as a positive thing that can be a good thing brought into the workplace, that kind of opens out and kind of makes it more accessible for more people. So I wanted to kind of celebrate the womanness in business.
We tend to run them in different ways, so we've been trying out different structures. But basically we've got a combination of a great, lovely, intimate venue, lovely food and a discussion topic. So, for instance, for this evening, we're going to be starting off with the food and introductions. People will introduce themselves to each other and something about what they do. And then we're actually going to be watching a film which has got some quite radical new research around stress. And then we're going to be just doing some discussion around that film, people's reactions to it, and then finishing up with tips that people might share of how they manage stress themselves. But other meetings we've had, we do interviews with women in business, so they tell their own story, things that they've learned and things that they might share, particular nuggets that they think will be useful for other people.
The Blue Stockings believe that a growing demand in society and in business for a more personal touch or a closer relationship with the companies we use plays directly into the strengths of women and means they're ideally placed to thrive in the modern economy.
Because I know that you've got someone coming from Lincoln today.
I believe it's actually your emotional conditions and your mental health and your mental well-being which is actually key to being successful in business. It's not about, although all the hard stuff is important, you know, the tax and the inland revenue and the marketing and all of that kind of stuff, the absolute crux of it is your own mental well-being and your own belief in yourself. And I think that's what we're trying to provide a space to nurture here.
And the group's growing quickly. It's looking to raise funds for more resources to offer members, and the Blue Stockings idea is catching on, with other groups now planning to set up across the country. Just remember, it all began here in Notts.
Well, that's it from the Blue Stockings, but we've arrived in West Bridgford. We've decided to take a Vox to find out what people think about women in business. Women in business, do you think they deserve to be in business?
They do, yes. Definitely. We all do. And I like to be in business as well if I could.
Men are better businessmen than women.
Do you think women should be in business?
Yes.
Why?
Why not? Women should be in the home looking after their children.
I didn't say it. Why do you say that? Because that's quite an archaic sort of view.
Because the children need their mums, and a lot of, today they're all put in nurseries and everything. I've been a grandma and a carer to my 3 grandchildren for 11 years now, going on 11 years. I think the children do miss their mum from time to time. We do our best for them. I think a lot of grandmas are, you know, and they're getting too old to do it. I think that it's better all round for the children and better for mental health in the future. I'm a nurse, you see.
Kate, what are your thoughts on women in business?
I think it's an excellent idea. I think women should be in business.
And what do you think the general perception of when people think about women in business? Do you think that they're good at it? Do you think?
On the whole, yes, I think they do think they're good at it. Yeah.
Are you a business owner?
No, I'm self-employed.
Okay. But that means if you're self-employed, you're your own business person.
I'm an artist, so yeah.
Yeah, and I'm an entertainer. It's great, isn't it? What a great life. What a great life. So, I mean, when you tell people that you're in business for yourself, I mean, how do they look on you?
I think they respect me. I think they're quite envious.
We spoke to a lady earlier on who said that women should still be in the kitchen, looking after babies, chained to the sink. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's very old-fashioned, but if somebody wants to do that, it's their choice. I enjoyed looking after my children when they were little, so, you know.
So what do you think are the problems that stop women from going into business?
Children, I think, because they're always responsible for the children, mostly, so I think that's one of the ties.
Your thoughts on women in business? Are you a business owner?
I'm not, no. I work part-time and I'm a mum part-time.
Okay. Have you ever thought about being in business?
Yep, yeah, I have. I can't do it with the commitments I've got to raising my 2 children.
And I take it that's the main problem you see, is that, you know, the kids, that sort of thing?
Yep, definitely.
What do you think people's thoughts are when they see a businesswoman or a successful businesswoman? Do you think men are scared?
Yes.
You're a midwife?
I am, yes.
Okay. Have you ever thought about going in business?
Not really, no. My job really fulfills what I want, really, so... But I've got no problem with the women in business. I think it's brilliant.
Do you think they're generally better than men?
Probably more organised, probably.
A lot of men find women in business, successful women in business, frightening. Why do you say that is?
I think they have to up their ante, they have to be quite aggressive to succeed, and I think that's always going to be the case, so they have to be that bit better than men, really.
Do you think there are anything that stops women from being in business, or do you think the doors are fully open?
Not these days. I think years gone by, a few decades ago, yes, there was just maybe a reluctance, but no, I think the ladies are well able to give a good account of themselves in business these days. In fact, I was in business myself and worked with some very good ladies, yeah.
Seems like the people of West Bridgford have spoken. Let's go over to Nottingham Trent University now to hear the thoughts of an expert.
More women are setting up in business because of unemployment. They may have been made redundant from public sector positions, issues of glass ceiling within their current occupation, or that they've just come up with a viable business idea.
What are the challenges facing women in business?
We've still got a large number of networks that are male-based and are just not speaking to women. The research that we've done here at the business school has found that they've found existing networks quite blokey and not for them. There can be issues of confidence. which can give them challenges to try and seek finance to capitalise the business.
What can we do to get more women into business?
More tailored training, more improved help with childcare and maternity benefits. If you're self-employed, it's very difficult to go on maternity leave.
What initiatives are there in Nottingham to encourage women into business?
Here at the Business School, we've just won the Silver Business Charter Award, and there's opportunities for businesses, not only just women-based businesses, to look at growth vouchers through specified training here at the university.
Well, that's it for now. Now, in the second half, we'll be finding out more about jobs in Nottingham.
And before we go any further, actually, oh, it's gone. No, there's a nice reflection on that under that bridge. I didn't want you to lose that. He spent a lot of time.
He was so excited by it as well, weren't you, Paul?
Yeah, brilliant. Well, talking about jobs, we'll be looking at a Nottingham firm that's looking to take staff on as manufacturers right across Nottingham experience something of a boom.
Design and innovation, there are USPs, and that's why we're getting so many more opportunities and being successful.
And we'll also be looking at the scheme that gets students straight from university right into jobs.
Nice idea.
They're really well received by all the staff at North Midlands Construction. We really enjoy having them here, and they are a real asset to the business.
All that to come. First, we'll just admire the sunshine dappling across the brick of that bridge, and we'll see you later.
Wow, poetry. Poetry.
Shocked you there.
You have. Welcome back, and in this half we'll be looking at the way jobs are created in Nottingham.
Yeah, we'll be hearing from our booming manufacturers.
Interestingly, the opportunities are coming from not our traditional areas, so for example Japan and the Far East.
And we'll be looking at a training scheme that gets students straight into work once they leave college.
We're passionate about making sure that our students are work ready and they've got the skills that employers are looking for.
Quite often they'll bring new ideas into the business, which is great for us.
All that to come, but first we'll be hearing from manufacturers in Nottingham who are going through something of a boom. We've been long to see one company that's creating jobs and growing quickly. It's been a landmark on the Nottingham business scene for 60 years. Pressac makes cabling and connectors for high-speed broadband. BT and Aircom are amongst its biggest customers, and it employs around 50 people on its Glaisdale Drive site. But in the last few years it's also been looking for new markets, and now it's moving into the buildings management sector, producing kit which helps businesses to monitor and to cut down on their energy consumption.
It's driven by legislation. Companies are going to actually be legally obliged to reduce their energy consumption. So that's a great driver for us. The products that we're making are new products that we're investing heavily in.
We've changed by increasing the technology in our products and also trying to put intellectual property into them.
Things are progressing well. We can always see new jobs coming in. We can always see new opportunities coming up. So really pleased. It is a great place to work.
Yes, it feels great. It's exciting times for Pressac.
It's not the only one doing well. Manufacturers in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire are reporting orders on the up. More than 80% of them are expecting turnover to increase this year, and over half say they'll be taking on new staff. It means a more secure future for the workforce and promotion too.
I start from a shop floor, and because the company gave great opportunity, and I've been trained for design, for pro engineer, and how to design PCB, and staying in design area.
But there are problems too. Growing companies are increasingly reporting difficulties in finding people with the right skills. And although Pressac is taking people on, it's not easy finding the right ones.
With the manufacturing industry having been in decline, a lot of people's skills aren't appropriate for that particular sector, so that's where investment's needed, I would say.
It's a worry that's being repeated by manufacturers across the region. But this firm is still managing to grow, and as it prepares to export to Japan and the US for the first time, it's finding new markets opening up at home and abroad, and it's confidently expecting to double its sales in the next 2 years.
So that shaft's getting sunk down over there, and that's going down 5 metres.
Boring where the excavator is right now.
It's a long way from the lecture room. For many students, a cold, wet morning out on site is their first taste of the real world. But these two civil engineering graduates were well prepared for the change. In fact, they walked straight out of Nottingham Trent University and into a job with North Midlands Construction, the company which had given them their first taste of work while students and snapped them up as soon as they graduated.
It was a bit of an insight on the industry to understand what was going on. What we were learning in university, it allowed me to see in practice, and we learned how to design certain aspects, for instance, that you saw a picture of, but you didn't really know what you were designing as such. And then on my first summer placement, I went out on site, and most of these things that I was designing were actually being in use.
It gave you a real kind of taste for what it's going to be. Everything from being out on site on cold winter mornings to spending time in the office during the summer when no one would be as outside. So it kind of gave you the best of both worlds. It gave you a chance to learn what you wanted to do as a civil engineer, know you wanted to be a civil engineer, or if you didn't. I did, unfortunately, so that was the placement was well spent. But it was generally a whole array of things that kind of provided me with the necessary skills I needed to finish my degree and then carry on being a civil engineer.
North Midlands works closely with Nottingham Trent. In fact, the two have signed a collaboration agreement. The university offers its facilities and expertise to the company. The building firm provides work experience, sandwich years and sponsorship for its students.
We've been working with Nottingham Trent University for the last 8 years, working in partnership with them, with us as North Midlands Construction, and we've been going to their careers fairs every year, just to sort of see what talent is available for us as a business, but also gives the students opportunities to get some real life work experience and get to know what it really is like to work within the industry.
Yeah, we've got 4 kilometres of pipe which is here.
It worked for the two Sams. Both were sponsored by the company through their final year at uni, and both knew they had a foothold on a career as soon as they left.
Well, I think without the placement I'd be in a much stickier situation applying for jobs later on, because thankfully North Midlands did sponsor me for my final year, so I kind of signed an agreement with them to continue employment and continue the job that I enjoyed with them after finishing my degree. Without that, I wouldn't have had the financial support to carry on through to 3rd year, nor would I have a guaranteed job after I'd finished. So all in all, the placement gave me kind of the necessary skills and kind of the career path that I wanted.
North Midlands is one of the country's biggest civil engineering firms. Based at Huthwaite near Sutton and Ashfield, it has offices around the country. As construction grows, it's growing too, and working closely with the local university gives it access to a stream of some of the brightest graduates in the country.
These will lead into this tank, and this lets the water build up into these. So
from our point of view, the benefit of having placement students is that we can sort of almost mould them to fit our business, and it's also a chance for us to see what talent's up and coming into the industry, and quite often they'll have different ideas about how things will work, and bring new ideas into the business, which is great for us, and it allows us to see sort of where the industry is going with the new talent that's coming in.
Nottingham Trent University works with a wide range of local employers and says it can help them to grow their businesses by tapping into their expertise.
It's a great way for them to recruit young talent and bring fresh thinking and fresh skills and ideas and knowledge into their business. And it's how they keep growing and how an organisation is going to be successful, by ensuring that they're recruiting young graduates. So for them, it's a win-win. They get the opportunity to take the best students from our university and also make their business grow.
Yeah, so there'll be 3 or 4 of these on top of each other.
We're very active in the placement arena. We have a long tradition of offering year-long sandwich industry placements across all 9 schools or faculties that we have at the university. But more and more we're introducing short modular placements, summer internships and even graduate internships to help our students get out into the workplace. So we have faculties across business, law, social science, we've got art and design, architecture, design, built environment, but we also have animal, rural and environmental, computing and technology, science, so a whole raft, a real breadth of provision at Nottingham Trent University, where we're looking to get our students into the workplace.
So much for the students then, but what about the rest of us looking for a job or a better career? We've asked the Nottingham employment expert Penny Strutton, a career and employee coach, to give us her top tips for making yourself more employable on the modern jobs market.
Tip number 1.
really understand what it is that you've got to offer. Understand what it is you're looking to achieve from your career move or your job change. Understand what your skills are. Number one, try and get your top 10 skills identified. Think about what motivates you. What's motivated you in your past? What have you really enjoyed in your working life to date? Because if you can understand what that is, then you can look for that in your next job. And it could be that they're completely transferable skills. So what you've enjoyed in one job, you could move to a completely new career, but still use those same skills. Tip number 2, do your research. Have a look at what's out there. Think about the marketplace. It's really, really important that you share the same values as your employer, that the employer has the right culture that will suit your personality, that will suit your career aspirations. So have a good think about the types of organisations that you actually want to work for, and make your applications and make your approaches to these organisations appropriately. Don't just fire off applications to any old employer, because you might find that you're in the same miserable boat as you were before. Tip number 3, get your promotional documents in place. Essentially, when you're changing job or changing career, you're selling yourself, which is a product in itself. So get your promotional documents in place, get your CV up to date, and remember, your CV is a snapshot of your career. It highlights those top 10 skills, it highlights those achievements that you want to draw out. It is not a dossier of your career. So get that CV in place, get your social media profiles up to date. LinkedIn is really important. Make sure that it speaks to potential employers and it speaks the right language. Tip number 4, put a plan together. It's really important that you think about how you're going to go about your job search or career change. Give yourself a time scale to work within. Don't give up if you've not got something in a week of activity. Give yourself a few months and think about the type of activities, the mix of activities that you're going to be doing throughout that time. So think about the jobs boards that you're going to be looking at. Don't just sit on the internet the whole time. Be selective. Think about the recruitment agencies you're going to use. Tip number 5, when you're ready to make an application, make sure that you are using the same language as that of the advert that you're reading or the organisation that you're applying to. Really important that you pull out those skills and the job requirements, the person specification, you identify what it is they're looking for, and you tailor your CV and your cover letter to demonstrate that you're the person that they're looking for. Remember, they're looking for the right type of person to fit in their company, so try and get a really good feel for the culture. Have a look on LinkedIn to see who else works there and what type of people are currently there and how motivated they are and the stories they're telling about their current roles. So that's from a perspective of where you're applying for a job. But the other perspective is the proactive approach. So approaching companies that you're really passionate about, that you would really love to work for, and demonstrating to them how you can fill a gap for them. It's almost like taking a proposal to a potential client. It is taking yourself to an organisation and trying to demonstrate how you could be a benefit to them.
Well, that's it for this week, but Des, I think we've rattled through the subjects today.
Well, we certainly have, Rob. We've talked about women in business, students getting jobs.
Fantastic. Plenty more of that to come next week, and also, you can't miss this, Des and I will be playing football on the opposing teams.
I'm looking forward to it, Rob, because I've never seen you with your legs out.
I know, and you've beat me solid at everything we've tried so far, so this could be my chance for revenge. I'm off to practice. See you, mate.
He needs it.